Yeah. Good evening, students. Welcome to the live virtual class of CA Intermediate Paper 5, Auditing and Ethics. And till today, we are through with 6 sections, right? I think you all are aware. We have interacted earlier also. So out of 11 chapters, we are through with 7 chapters, right? And all 7 chapters are forming part of 6 sections. And a whole syllabus, 11 chapters are divided into 9 sections. And today we are going to start with section 7, audit report. That is chapter 8 of study material. I hope you are preparing notes, practicing the questions, the tips which I shared you earlier, trying to follow the same so that when we are appearing for the examination, we are getting good marks, full marks, exemption, right? And today we are having our learned faculty, CA Akriti Dalmia. Akriti Dalmia is a chartered accountant, passionate educator, social worker, and public speaker. She is having vast experience in teaching and mentoring students and professionals. Dear students, she is having her professional background as an auditor spans statutory, revenue, concurrent audit, PSU, cooperative bank. So all these experience gives her teaching and speaking engagement in a strong practical foundation, right? And she is regular speaker also in the auditing subject, and in recognition of her social service and contribution to the society, she was honored with the Women Achiever Award at National Women's Conclave in 2017, right? So not that much I can tell you that she is having vast experience and she will make you understand the topic audit report, which is very, very important topic, very crucial topic, because when you will become chartered accountant and when you will be going for audit, it is a very important responsibility which you are having to report, right? And when you are when you are providing audit report, you need to ensure the compliance of standards on auditing series 700, right? So not taking much of the time, I'll request Akriti madam to take the session and she'll be briefing you about SA 700, 701, 705, 706, 710, right? These all standards are very, very important. And when you are means when you're studying at that point of time also you should read annual report or audit report, that how auditor is reporting, what are the factors he is taking into consideration while drafting the opinion paragraph. And all these will be covered in today's session also, when ma'am will be taking you through these essays. So what she is planning, that she will be telling you about essays, and thereafter with the help of one practical real audit report, she'll link you with each and every content part, right? So first, she will be introducing you to SA 700. I'm repeating, this is very important topic, okay? And at the final level also, it is very important. So please note down each and every important point. Make your own notes, revise thoroughly, study, right? Because after today, we are having our session on Friday. So it will be homework for you. So whatever is being covered, you need to note down in your notepad, and multiple revisions are required, and questions which are based on these standards, you need to practice. Okay. At the end of the session, again, definitely we will be discussing MCQs also. So I think time is indicating me to close and invite Akriti madam to have session. And I hope it will be a very interactive session. And please remember, your feedback is very, very important for us. So do share your feedback. Our feedback form is available with you because it will help us to analyze that how we can improvise further, right? So your feedback is very important and crucial. So do not forget to fill and share your feedback. So now, not taking much of the time, over to you, Akriti ma'am. Thank you, students.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that introduction and for setting the stage for today. And welcome to all of the students. Good evening. I'm very, very happy to be here in front of you. I hope you are all doing very, very well. And together, we are going to conquer this very, very important part of our journey to become good auditors, that how to make a good report. You can have brilliant ideas, you can have very good opinions, you can do a lot of good work collecting evidence. But what if we can't communicate it? That if I have known something, I have to say it correctly, I have to present it correctly, I have to write it in the formats that are readable for the users, for their understanding. So this chapter helps you to take all the effort you have done, from risk assessment to further audit procedures to risk test controls to substantive controls. We have collected all the evidences. Now you have reached an opinion, but how do we present that opinion? That is what we are going to study today. Before we start that, let's think something and let me ask you a few questions. So, see, reporting is the last stage of auditing, wherein we are collecting everything that we have done and bringing it to the report. So, before I go that, I want to discuss a few fundamental important concepts that will be repeatedly mentioned in the chapter. Okay, so before it is repeatedly mentioned in the chapter, I want clarity that all of us know and all of us are on the same page. And I want the session to be very, very interactive. You can write your answers in the chat box. I'll read them. So before I don't want it to be a one-sided session. Okay. So first, let's discuss a few concepts that will make our understanding of the chapter much, much stronger. Okay. So can you tell me what is SAAE? Sufficient and complete this, sufficient and dash evidence. What does it mean? What is the dash? Quickly write your answers in chat box. My screen is visible to everyone, right? Appropriate. Now, sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. This word will be used again and again during the chapter. We should be absolutely clear that auditor finds correct evidence, good evidence, or sufficient and appropriate evidence. Always we have to use the word appropriate and sufficient evidence. Very good. All of you know. Now tell me this point. What does it mean by TCWG? Because again, this word is repeated during the chapter. So before we start the chapter, I want all of our conceptual clarity to be very, very good. So what is TCWG? Quickly write the answers. Those charged with governance. Correct. But who are those charged with governance? Who are those charged with governance? What does it mean? Is those charged with governance a legal terminology? Does it come in Companies Act? Is management those charged with governance? Is other than management those charged with governance? I'm getting variety of answers. For preparation of financial statements, those charged with governance. Above management, company hire, those charged with governance. Director is those charged with governance. So think of it like this. Okay, I'll give you a small example. There's a little difference of answers in all of your answers. Think of it like this. Imagine that there is a nice big school. Okay, this is a nice big school. Who runs the school? Who do you see on daily basis? Who are running the show in the school on everyday basis? Who are running the show? Teachers. Okay. Principal, very good. Teachers, principals, staff, all those people are running the show on everyday basis. So think of them, teachers, principal, they become your, let's imagine, management. But have you heard the word school trustee, school management committee? Have you heard these words? Trustees of school, management committee of the school. Have you heard those words? Yes. Now, these trustees and these management committees, do they every day go and teach? Do they every day go and take small, small decisions in the school? Is their job to go and sit every day? No. But if the school wants to start a new building or start a new lab, will they need to take permission of that committee and that trustee? Will they need to take permission of that committee and trustee? Yes. So now imagine, now you tell me, who is TCWG in this school? Who is TCWG in this school? Who is in charge with governance? What is the answer? Committee, trustee. So, is it possible that some teachers and some principals are also part of trustee sometimes? They are also sometimes part of committee. Can there be a mix match? Sometimes it's possible. Okay, if it's a very small school where only 3 people are there. So, same way in a business, if I am running a sole proprietorship business, so I am the sole proprietor, then who is the management? If in a sole proprietorship business, who is the management? Quickly give me the answer. In sole proprietorship, who is the management? Proprietor. Good. Proprietor, everyone is replying. Then who is TCWG in sole proprietorship? Who is TCWG? Proprietor only. So, who decides as an auditor? You will decide as per the situation, that according to the powers, according to the way the company is running, you will have to make that differentiation, that who is the management, who is regularly taking care of preparation of financial statements, who is participating in day-to-day management, and who are TCWG. Have you heard the word TCWG in Companies Act? When you have studied Companies Act, have you heard the word TCWG ever? No. Have you heard this word TCWG in Companies Act? No. Because it is a terminology for the use of the auditor to know that who is the management and who is TCWG, because in audit, their roles and responsibilities are different. Is everyone clear about TCWG? Then I can move to the next concept. Everyone is clear about who is TCWG? Everyone is absolutely clear? Good, very good. Now, so TCWG, all of you are clear. I'm very happy. Next, tell me, what does it mean? I'll just change the color. So TCWG is clear. This is clear. What does it mean by materiality? So I will give you an example. You have to tell me. Suppose in company, there is a secured loan of 40 crores. Okay. And there is unsecured loan of 4 crores. Which area of audit do you think has higher risk of misstatement? Which has higher risk of misstatement? out of secured loan and unsecured loan. So secured loan is how much? 40 crores. Unsecured loan is how much? 4 crores. Which has higher risk of material misstatement? So some are saying secured loan. Most of you are saying secured loan. Am I visible and audible? Yeah. So, okay. So most of you are saying secured loan. Now, this is a fundamental problem. Materiality does not mean higher amount is more material. Secured loan means what? You will have all the documentation. Bank will have taken some security. It is usually through financial institutions. So there is more solid, good paperwork to check. But whereas, even though unsecured loan is of only 4 crores, it is only 10% of 40 crores. As an auditor, where will my more time and energy go? Okay. Where will my more time and energy go? So if you are in articleship, your principal will tell you to put more energy in what? More time, which will take more time to check. Unsecured loan. So does materiality mean that higher amount is always material, lower amount is less material? Tell me. Does materiality mean that higher amount means material, low amount means not material? No. So who takes this judgment? Who takes this judgment that what is important and what is not important, what is material, what will I check, what will I not check? Who takes this decision? Auditor. To make audit report, you have to reach some conclusion, right? And to reach that conclusion, what is one of the most important thing that auditor has to do? Auditor has to use judgment. Yes or no? To give audit opinion and to be able to write a good audit report, what is one of the most important things an auditor needs to have? Good auditor judgment. Yes. Now, according to this, apply your own logic that if there is an essay, so there is an essay 700 that tells you about audit report. Will this essay be fixed, rigid, or will it be flexible to accommodate auditor's judgment? Will it give flexibility to the auditor or will it be very, very rigid like law? Very good. To understand any standard of auditing, I have one simple rule. Imagine what will happen if there was no standard of auditing. Let's imagine that no one created standard 700. No one thought to create SA 700. What will happen? Everyone will write their own way of reporting. Okay. So I see some names. So for example, Virendra writes, the audit is good. But Ashlesha writes, the audit is correct. Or Harsh writes, the financial statements seem to be okay. Everyone is writing their own words. Do you think if everyone writes their own words, our audit report quality will be good? Do you think it will be good if everyone mean the same thing? But if everyone writes with their own words, will the audit report quality be good? No. So what is the use of SA 700? Now you tell me. I am not telling you the objective. You tell me why does SA 700 exist? What is the reason SA 700 exists? You will tell me. You have never studied SA 700, but now you tell me, why does SA 700 exist? If it does not exist, what will happen? Everyone will write their own way of making report. So what does SA 700 does for us? Yes, SA 700 gives us a structure. It tells this is the way you can work, and it also gives us flexibility that how we can change, and that is what we will learn today. You understood? This is just introduction. Everyone understood why we are studying SA 700? It is not just important that we study 700, but I want to tell you the importance of why we are studying it. You should not feel we are just studying. No. Why we are studying something is very, very important. Okay. So we are studying SA 700. Why? So that Tanya's report, Anil's report, Harsh's report, Ashlesha's report, Kuldeep's report, all of them have a structure. It provides a format so that all of you are not writing your own style and own way of doing things. First point clear, everyone? Second point, how we write it. Okay? How we write it. So, my question to you is language of auditing. Okay, let's talk about that. Suppose I want to write, I want to tell, I want to communicate, management is not letting me do the work, or management is not letting me see this document. How do you write in an auditing language? See, auditing understanding is one thing, writing auditing is a different thing. So you understood that management is not letting you do something, or management is not letting you see some files. But how do you write it as an auditor? How do you communicate it as an auditor? Because if we write like a layman, our marks and our reporting style both will not be good. So if I want to tell that management is not letting me do something, how do we write it? I'll show you something very, very important. Everyone, look on the screen. Management is imposing a limitation on scope of my work. Did you see the screen? Same thing I'm saying. Management is not letting me do the work, but how do we say it nicely in auditing language? How do we say it? Management is imposing a limitation on the scope of my work. So many times students feel that, ma'am, I wrote the same thing. Why didn't I get marks? You will get marks when you use the language of audit. Just because what you have written seems okay does not mean it is written in a professional way. We all have to become good audit communicators. We don't just have to be good at auditing, we also have to be good at writing what we are seeing, what we are finding. We also have to be very good at writing what is happening to us during the audit. So if I write, management is not letting me do the work, and see, management is imposing a limitation on the scope of my work, what feels more professional? Okay. What feels more professional? What feels like an auditor wrote it? And each professional have their language. Each profession, even in law, they write pari passu or prima facie. You have heard the word prima facie? You have heard prima facie? Okay. Prima facie means what? On the face of the things. But why can't we just say on the face of the things? Why do I have to learn the word prima facie? Because each profession has a language. And as CA students, we don't just have to understand audit, we also have to learn to write audit. Is that clear, everyone? We don't just have to understand audit, we have to learn to write it nicely, correctly, using correct words, using correct structure, using correct language. Okay? Very good. Clear, ma'am. Okay. Geeta, clear. All right. Very good. So this is my setup. This is my introduction. And now we can start with SA 700. Okay, everyone ready? We can start with SA 700. You understand the importance of SA 700 now, right? You don't think that it is just another thing we are learning. We have to study this to get marks. No. Think like an auditor. I want to be a good auditor. I don't just want to clear intermediate. I don't just want to clear final. I want to become a very, very good auditor. So when you think that way, each essay is very important. Okay. Very good. Good. So now let's start with SA 700. So SA 700 teaches us two main things. I will come to the book, but first I'll explain on the screen and then we will go to the book. Is that okay to everyone? My writing and all is okay for everyone? All right? Okay. Good. Good. I'm very happy. All of you are very responsive. Continuously, you are replying to everything. Very good. Good. So, SA 200 teaches two things. Okay. It says the first important thing is forming an opinion. SA 700 is saying you can't directly jump and write the report. The first thing you need to do is form an opinion, come to a conclusion. Okay. And second thing it says, report it. Okay. Now this report, you tell me logically, will it be oral report or written report? This audit report will be oral report or written report? Written report, obviously, very good. Everyone has replied. Okay. So SA 700 tells us two main things. How do we form an opinion and how do we report? Okay. Now, let's start with this part. Why do we give an opinion? Let's imagine that you are a bank manager, okay, sitting in front of a desk. And three people have come to you. They ask for loan. They're saying, please give us loan. You ask them for financial statement. They put a report in front of you. Okay. So they are asking for money. So they are saying, give us 2 crores. Okay. They are saying, give us 2 crore money. Manager is sitting in front of them. Now, if I take an unaudited report, it means these three people must have just created something and taken. But if I take an audit report to manager, what is increasing? If you are manager and if someone brings a report in front of you and asks for 2 crore, what will you feel? You will feel more confident. What do you feel? You will feel more confident to give money. So, what is the job of this report? It is to increase the confidence of the users. Why is a report important? What does it do? What is the job of this report? It increases the confidence of the users. How do they increase the confidence? I want to increase the confidence of the users, which means I have to obtain reasonable assurance. What does auditor have to obtain? What does auditor have to obtain? Reasonable assurance. And after this reasonable assurance, he has to give conclusions. And then on the basis of conclusions, he has to form an opinion. And then on the basis of that, he has to give a report. Is that clear? So to reach assurance, we need to have conclusions. To reach conclusions, we need to have proper opinion, and then we will be able to give proper audit report. This is the premise. Okay. All right. Now, to give this report, auditor has to follow a certain format. I'll give you a few examples, then we will go to the book. Okay. What format he has to follow. Imagine the first most important thing. An audit report is there in front of you. What should be the top thing in an audit report? What should be the topmost thing in an audit report? Imagine, what does a book has on the top? What does your chapter have on the top? Audit report. Good. The first top thing would be the title. It will be the title, which means normally it would be independent auditor's report. So title should be there. Then some of you gave the correct answer that there should be name of the company, obviously. But tell me very tricky thing. Should I write the name of the company or addressee? What does addressee mean? What does addressee mean? The name of the company? This is a trick question. Let me see how many of you give correct answer. Addressee means what? Title top. Then what is next? Addressee means what? This report I'm giving to someone, then who am I addressing it to? Very good, Mr. Linga. Shareholders are the addressee. So should I just write the name of the company or should I write members of XYZ Limited? Should I write XYZ Limited or should I write members of XYZ Limited or shareholders of XYZ Limited? Very good. You should write shareholders of XYZ Limited. If it is a partnership firm, what will I write? If it is a partnership firm, what will I write? Quickly give me answer. If it is a partnership firm, if I'm making an audit report for a partnership business, then what will I write? Who will be my addressee? Partners of. Correct. Very good. Partners of XYZ. Everyone, absolutely correct answer. So this is called as addressee. Now you see what kind of format it is. Okay. This I'm just giving you a snapshot. Now we'll go through each point one by one. So what I'll do is, today I'll give you a brief formatting of the whole SA 700. Then each point we'll discuss in detail through different essays. All right, just follow me. Okay, so like this, the whole format is there. Let me bring you to the book now. Everyone can see the book? Come to this part. Everyone can see? This is very simple. This is not to be learned. Okay. This you don't have to memorize. What does audit report look like? Very good question, Mr. Linga. How many of you have seen an audit report in real life? How many of you have seen an audit report in real life? Any audit report? Kuldeep has seen. Tanu has not seen. Ashlesha has seen. Anil has seen. Okay. Virendra has not seen. All right. So Very good question. That, ma'am, we are studying audit report. We want to first see how it looks like. But I would request you to have a little patience, because if I show it to you now, you will have more questions than answers. Just let one or two more lectures go. And once I have taught you the important things that you should know to understand a report, we will go through a real life report practically, page by page in our class. That is my promise. Okay. But first, understand it a little, because right now it will be completely, ununderstandable to you. Why is this here, ma'am? What does this mean, ma'am? You'll have many questions. So once I have taught you a few concepts, once I've taught you a few important things, then when you see audit report, you'll be like, yeah, ma'am, you told us about this, or yes, we studied about this. So you will enjoy the process of seeing the audit report much more. So let just a little bit of concepts more pass. We will discuss. Is that all right? We'll see a real life audit report. I'll show you on screen. Okay. And if you want to see before that, you can go after the class. You can just Google. All public limited companies, listed companies have their audit reports online. You can see that also. But I will definitely discuss one audit report in class. Okay. So now come to chapter number 8. The starting part, if you will see this blue box, this is like an introduction. This you don't have to learn for exam. This is asking the same questions and same points which I discussed with you already. Okay. So this is not to be memorized. I'll quickly just tell you what it talks about. It says that audit is a process. After doing the audit process, you reach an opinion. After reaching the opinion, you give an audit report. Audit report is the final document, final process in the whole audit process. To give an audit report, you give an opinion. We will discuss about opinion today in a lot of detail. Okay. Now, if you have to make an audit report, what are the elements in an audit report? What does it look like? Your same questions, right? What does it look like, ma'am? Okay. What do I need to do to prepare audit report? Then what is different kind of audit report in different situations? Is there any flexibility in audit report? How can I highlight some things if I want to highlight? What are the significant things we can highlight in the audit report? What is the way of addressing such reports? What can I do if I am not agreeing with the financial statements and I want to give a modified opinion? What different types of opinion I can give? So you tell me, is this to be learned or is this just an introduction? Okay, nothing to be learned in this. This is just setting up the stage for the rest of the chapter. Okay, now come here. Essay number 700. Everyone, very, very important. Essay number 700. What did I tell you? It's divided into two ways. Forming an opinion, reporting on the financial statements. Two things it does. How to form an opinion and how to report on financial statements. Then whatever I am underlining, you underline. Okay? Whatever I am underlining or highlighting, you have to do the same thing. Okay? It also deals with form and content of auditor's report. Okay. This much is clear. Next. The requirements of this essay are aimed at addressing an appropriate balance between need for consistency and comparability in audit reporting globally and need to increase the value of auditor reporting by making the information provided in auditor's report more relevant to users. You don't have to memorize this sentence. You don't have to memorize each sentence. What does it simply say? That the purpose of this essay is so that we have consistency. I explained to you, I told you that Ashlesha's report should match Virendra's report structure. That is consistency. Comparability, why? The report of a Tamil Nadu company should be comparable with the report of a Uttar Pradesh company. So if there is a textile company in Tamil Nadu and there is a textile company in Uttar Pradesh, they should be able to compare their reports. It should not be like the Tamil Nadu reports are completely different than Uttar Pradesh report. So it helps in consistency, it helps in comparability. Okay. Then it increases the value. It increases the value of auditor reporting and it makes more relevant to users. Okay. But it also recognizes the need for flexibility. Very important. Standards are not like laws. Standards are very important. They are mandatory. We have to follow them. But they always give us an option of flexibility. They always decide that how an auditor will be doing the work and they need to maintain uniformity, but we also need to give them some space to write something which our format doesn't cover. Okay. I missed someone asked question, but it is gone somehow. One second. Whoever wrote the question now, can you just write it again? Yeah, Anil. Ma'am, auditor will provide just reasonable assurance, ma'am, which is rigid in all the reports, right? So that is what I'm going to teach you. That I am giving reasonable assurance. How do I mention it correctly in the report so that when you are an investor or when you are a bank, how do you read the report so that you also understand that auditor is only giving reasonable assurance? Is that clear? My way of writing will make it clear that I am giving a reasonable assurance in the report, not a guarantee. And that is why we need to study the format. Is that clear, Anil? Okay. Okay, all right. So please underline this, recognizes the need for flexibility. Anything new? We have studied all this already. I'm just making you mark it in the book, okay? Now underline the word consistency also promotes credibility. Underline credibility. Okay. And then it helps to promote users' understanding and to identify unusual circumstances. Unusual circumstances. Now come to objective of the auditor. Same repeat. I've again already told you to form an opinion and to express clearly that opinion through a written report. There are two objectives of SA 700. Okay, just write like this. Objective of auditor as per SA 700. What is the objective as per 700? To form an opinion. On whom are we giving opinion? I am giving an opinion whether directors are good people or not good people. Am I giving opinion whether management are good people, not good people, employees are very nice? This opinion am I giving? I'm giving opinion very clearly on financial statements. And on what basis I am giving opinion? On the basis of evaluation and conclusions from audit evidence. So I'm forming an opinion on what? I'm forming an opinion on specifically financial statements. On what basis? On the evaluation. Evaluation of what? Conclusions. Where did I get the conclusions from? Audit evidence. Okay. And next is, you don't just have to form an opinion, you also have to tell that opinion. So how do I tell it clearly through a written report? This is what SA 700 will teach me. Good. Next. To form an opinion, what does auditor has to get? Reasonable assurance. All these keywords we already discussed, right? So the best way that we understand any essay is to know its keywords anytime. Okay, you should know that all these words will be used in this essay. So when you're writing an answer in exam, these keywords will help you to write professionally. This will help you get good marks. Okay. So to form opinion, auditor has to obtain reasonable assurance. So the auditor shall form an opinion on whether financial statements are prepared in all material respects as per applicable financial reporting framework. Who can tell me what does applicable financial reporting work mean? What does applicable financial reporting framework means? Who can explain that? It's a very, very basic, important concept to understand whole audit, not just audit report. To understand anything in audit, you should know what does applicable financial reporting framework mean. Who can explain? In short, you can just write on the chat. Accounting standards and policies to follow. Okay. Using accounting standards. Okay. AFRF means standards. Okay. Financial statements as per accounting standards. Financial statements as per accounting standards. Adil has given the correct answer. Adil, only Adil's answer is correct till now. Vedant is also slow, almost there. Everyone else, it was not correct answer. Let me just explain it quickly. So understand it like this. Applicable financial reporting framework. Okay. All of you know a company, right? A normal company. What is the primary? Have you studied, do you know about Schedule 3 and Companies Act that we have to prepare balance sheet as per that? Companies Act has a format according to which you have to prepare balance sheet. Okay. Usually it will have balance sheet, P&L, cash flow, notes to accounts, and statements of changes in equity. Am I right? Okay. So for a normal company, if I go to audit and they have not prepared, they have prepared balance sheet, they have prepared P&L, they have prepared cash flow, they have prepared notes. All these things they have prepared. But they have not prepared statement of changes in equity. So what will I say? Is it as per AFRF or it is not as per AFRF? If they have not prepared statement of changes in equity, is it as per AFRF or not as per AFRF? Not as per AFRF. So for a company, the AFRF can be Companies Act plus accounting standards. But what if it's an insurance company? What if it's an insurance company? Will the AFRF change? Will the financial statements change? Yes, because now not just Companies Act is applicable, Insurance Act 1938 is also applicable. IRDA regulations is also applicable. So insurance companies many times have a different format for balance sheet and P&L. They have to categorize as per different businesses. They have something called as revenue account. So if I go to insurance company and they have just prepared this, but they have not prepared as per Insurance Act and IRDA. So have they correctly used AFRF? No. Tanu is saying no. Linga is saying no. Yes. So can AFRF be different for different types of businesses? Can AFRF be different for different types of businesses? Yes. So if you are management of a company, what is your first job when you are preparing financial statements? To prepare financial statements correctly, what is your first job? To identify AFRF. So if you are running a company, and if you want to prepare your financial statements correctly, you are running the company. So if you want to prepare your financial statements correctly, what do you have to do? You have to identify your AFRF, applicable financial reporting framework. And if I am the auditor and I want to audit your entity, what do I have to first see? I have to see whether you have prepared financial statements as per applicable AFRF. Now this wording, this concept is clear to everyone. So if you are management, you have to see that while preparing financial statements, you are using AFRF. You have correctly identified all the laws that are applicable to you. And when I am auditor, I have to see whether management has prepared everything as per AFRF. Everything clear? So now you understand why in book every time there is AFRF. Anil has a question. Ma'am, you said earlier management is imposing limitation on scope of audit. In that case, how will auditor evaluate and where can he get the audit evidence? This will be fully covered in SA 705. Okay. In SA 705, this will fully be covered. Okay. Okay. So now let's come back to this. So auditor shall form an opinion whether the financial statements are prepared in accordance with AFRF. Now, no doubt, right? You understand what this sentence means. Each sentence has a meaning. Each sentence has a purpose. Okay. Now, in order to form that opinion, auditor shall conclude as to whether the auditor has obtained reasonable assurance. Again, same thing about whether financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement due to fraud and error. Okay. So as an auditor, I have to see whether the financial statements are free from misstatement. Okay. Now we'll discuss misstatement quickly. Let's discuss misstatement. If the loans are of 2 crores, but I have written it as 2 crore 50 lakh, is that a misstatement? Is that a misstatement? Yes, obviously, ma'am. Such easy question. Yes. Okay. Good. Everyone has replied. Yes. But now, what if P&L is completely correct? Balance sheet is properly balancing. Tax paid is also correct. Profit calculated is also correct. Everything is correct. There is no problem. But there is wrong classification. They have classified unsecured loans as current liabilities. Heading they have given wrong. They have written unsecured loans as current liabilities. P&L is absolutely correct. Balance sheet is properly balancing. Tax paid is correct. Profit is correct. Everything is correct. Then is this a misstatement? Is this a misstatement? Yes, Adil, yes. Ashlesha is saying no. Yes. Chandana is saying yes. Yes, it is a misstatement. So does misstatement always means misstatement in amounts? Does auditor just have to check whether the amount is correct? Whether calculation is correct? As an auditor, we just have to see calculations. That's it? No. If classification is wrong, can that also be a material misstatement? If some disclosure is wrong, can that also be a misstatement? So, misstatement does not just mean amount related errors. Any classification error, any disclosure error. What should be, I always say one thing. Difference, what is misstatement? Difference between what is and what should be. Whenever there is a difference between what is and what should be. So it should be current liabilities, but it is unsecured loans. Or it should be unsecured loans, but it is current liabilities. It should be 2 crore 50 lakhs, but it is 2 lakhs. So whenever there is a difference between what should be and what is, that is called as misstatement. Understood? Everyone is clear. Today we'll revise a lot of old concepts because you are doing the last part of audit process, that's making audit report. Okay. So that is why I have to keep going to important concepts. Okay. Because if they are not clear, audit report cannot be good. So what does auditor have to do? Auditor has to obtain reasonable assurance that financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement due to fraud and error. So to reach this, he has to take into account whether sufficient appropriate audit evidence has been obtained, whether uncorrected misstatements are material individually or in aggregate, and to properly do all the evaluations. And here, evaluations by auditor, mark it as important. Okay. Just put a star nicely. This can be useful in theory also and in MCQ also. Just write like this, okay? It can be useful in theory also and in MCQ also. Okay. So the auditor shall evaluate whether financial statements are prepared in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. Same thing again. How do we evaluate that? That is very important. Evaluation should consider qualitative aspects of entities' accounting practices, indicators of possible bias in management's judgments. Okay. Okay. Now tell me this. Useful life of an asset, of any machinery. Is there a fixed government given law for it? Or each company, as per the trend, takes the useful life of asset? Who takes the judgment that what will be the useful life of an asset? Who takes the judgment? Vedant is saying management. Tanu is also saying management. Management, yes. It means that when accounts were prepared, was it only based on vouchers or was there judgment involved? There was judgment involved or was it fully based on only vouchers? Yes, many estimates were involved. Good. Anil also saying judgment is involved. Very good. Now, if judgment is involved while making accounts, so I have to give judgment on management's judgment. Yes or no? Can I give guarantee on management's judgment, or I can give judgment on judgment? We can also give judgment on judgment, right? And that is why an auditor is able to give only reasonable assurance, because I also have to take judgment on management's judgment. Provision for doubtful assets or provision for bad and doubtful assets. Who takes the judgment that how much provision we can give? How much provision for bad and doubtful debts we can give? Who takes that decision? Management. So I can just see the situation and see if the management has taken the decision for 20% provision, whether it appears to be fair. Can I say whether it is correct, or can I write whether it is fair? If I have to check provision for bad and doubtful debts, will I write that provision is correct, or will I write provision appears to be fair? Provision appears to be fair. And that is why an auditor's report is not true and correct. It is true and fair. Because there are a lot of judgments involved during making of accounts. Okay. So auditor has to evaluate what? Auditor has to not just see quantitative things. Auditor also has to see qualitative things. Understood? Qualitative word? Remember this word, okay? What does auditor evaluate in as per SA 700? Auditor does not just evaluate quantitative vouchers and all. He has to evaluate qualitative aspects. Why? Because management makes a number of judgments about amounts and disclosures. Okay? Management makes a number of judgments. So that judgment I can only do qualitative checking. I cannot do quantitative. SA 260 you must have studied already. It provides a discussion on qualitative aspects of accounting practices. So when we are doing checking of qualitative act, underline this, possible bias in management's judgment. I'll tell you the example for that, okay? Understand this. I'll write it here. Bias means what? Let's say you are management of a company, okay? You want to get a loan. That loan is of very high value, 10 crores. Okay? That year, because you want to show, for this, you want to show more profit. And because you want to show more profit, you have decreased provision for bad and doubtful debts from 20% to just 10%. Why? So that more profit is shown. Okay? Now, you have to see as an auditor that whether this 10% that is showing in P&L, you have to take this judgment that this 10% that is showing in the P&L, is it because provision should be 10% or because management is getting some benefit out of showing it 10%? Is that clear? This is called as bias of management in qualitative aspects. Understood? This is called as bias of management. Sometimes they can play with things in which they have to take judgment to their own benefit. Okay? So They will say, no, we take 10% only. It is not a law. We can take any amount of percentage, right? They will make all these excuses. But then we have to see the qualitative aspects. Now, will you find any voucher and all for this to check? No. You have to apply your judgment. So what can I do? Suppose I want to check this 10% is right or not. What can I do? I can check competitive companies. I can check that what percentage they are taking. I can check past trend. And then I can see whether this 10% appears to be fair or not. Okay. So then we can see whether this appears to be fair or not. All right. So as an auditor, we have to do qualitative aspects. Why? Because management is taking a lot of judgments and there could be possible bias in their judgment. Okay. There could be possible bias and there can be lack of neutrality. There can be lack of neutrality. Sometimes it can happen in banks that if I find misstatements and if it is increasing the revenue of the bank, they will do it. But if I say that you have charged something wrong to the customer and you need to refund the customer, they might be biased against it. So you have to see that how management appears to be biased or not. So what are the indicators? Mark this answer as important. Indicators of lack of neutrality. Please mark this. So how do we know that management is not neutral? First is selective correction. Selective correction means what? They are doing only those corrections which is helping them and not doing those corrections which is not helping them. So if you see this, it means you have to take judgment. You have to understand that they are not neutral. They are biased. Okay. And second, possible management bias in making of accounting estimates. So as an auditor, we have to be very careful. If in P&L we see anything that needs estimates, we have to always be careful whether these estimates have been taken correctly, whether any expert was used, on what basis assumptions were taken, on what basis estimates was calculated. So it becomes a very important area of audit whenever there is any estimates, because here there is a risk of management being biased. So how do we check neutrality? Okay, mark this as a small important thing. Indicators of lack of neutrality. What are indicators? When they do selective correction and when they have bias. Completed this much? Everyone with me? Okay, good. I'm very happy, very responsive class. All of you are continuously replying. Very good. Selective bias, Kuldeep has asked, what does selective bias mean? Selective bias means you are listening to me as an auditor, but you are only listening in matters which are beneficial to you. I gave you the bank example, right? So you are biased, but for some things, and for some things you are not biased. So as an auditor, I have to make the judgment that whether management is being selectively biased, which means for some things they are accepting my point of view, but for some things they're not accepting my judgment. So you have to see why they are accepting sometimes. Oh, they are accepting because their profit is increasing, but they are not accepting my judgment if their profit is decreasing. So this is called as selective bias. Is it clear, Kuldeep? All right. Okay. All right. Now, come to this part, specific evaluations by auditor, and mark this as, earlier I gave you 1 star, right? Now mention 2 stars. Very, very important. This can be one of the questions that many students leave, but I will suggest to do it. And it's a very easy answer. Okay. Specific evaluations by auditor. Here you can add some sentence, write down, for forming an opinion and preparing audit report. Whatever I'm writing, please write down. For forming an opinion and preparing audit report. So, to prepare an audit report and to form an opinion, what are some specific evaluations? In your exam, there will be keyword evaluations. This word would be there. So, with this, you have to remember the answer. Okay. What are the evaluations I need to do? I first have to see that whether accounting policies that are selected and applied are properly disclosed. Accounting policies, whichever. So if you're using FIFO method, it should be disclosed. If you're using weighted average method, then it should be disclosed. Whatever policies you are selecting and applying, it should be properly disclosed. Then underline the word consistent. Whether the accounting policies that you are applying are consistent. So you're disclosing it, but are you changing it each year? Last year it was FIFO. This year have made it weighted average method. Next year you have made it LIFO. Are you keeping on changing it? So auditor has to evaluate whether accounting policies are consistent. Then auditor has to see whether accounting estimates are reasonable. He has to see whether accounting estimates are reasonable. Then auditor has to see whether information, whichever is being given, is relevant, reliable, comparable, and understandable. What does it mean? If I have given any information, suppose I have given traveling expenses in P&L, okay? The traveling expenses have to be of this year or last year? This year only, na? If I'm preparing P&L of this year, it should be of this year. So it means it should be relevant for this year. Second, it should be reliable information. You're not giving any wrong information. It should be comparable. What does it mean by comparable? This year, I'm using the title traveling expense. Last year, I used the word, let's say, transportation expense. Can I interchange these words like this? No. I have to use the correct word consistently every year. Okay. So it should not just be relevant and reliable. It should be comparable. And last one is understandable. If I am a very, very expert person, but you are not able to understand my English, is it of any use? My great knowledge, is it of any use if you can't understand? No. So whatever information that management has given should be understandable to investors, to users of financial statements. Okay. The financial statement should provide adequate disclosure to enable the intended users to understand the effects of material transactions and events. So it should include all the disclosures so that the users know all important things that happened. So if in my company there was a fire, and if you want to buy my shares, do you think you should know that there was a fire in my company? Do you think you have the right to know that there was a fire in my company if you want to buy my shares? Of course, yes. So auditor has to evaluate that financial statement has all the disclosures about all the important transactions, all the important events that has happened in the organization. Okay. Adequate disclosure means sufficient disclosures. Okay. Which means whatever I should know, you should also know. Disclosures means whatever is mentioned in the audit report, sorry, whatever is mentioned in the financial statement has all the information. It is not hiding anything. So if the company's biggest debtor became bankrupt, Chandana, okay? So I am someone who's supplying and exporting to US, okay? And one of my biggest buyer has become bankrupt. And a lot of my things have become bad debt. Do you think you as the user and an investor should know this information? That is called as disclosure. And adequate means as per the situation. Okay. As per the situation, enough information should be available. That is called as adequate disclosure. Is that clear? Okay. And last, terminology, underline terminology should be appropriate. Tell me this. If I tell you that there are loans and advances of 50 lakhs, do you immediately think about liability side or asset side? If I tell you that loans and advances are 50 lakhs, do you immediately think about asset side or liability side? Loans and advances. Balance sheet, imagine. And if I write secured loan and unsecured loan, do you immediately think liability side or asset side? If I write secured loan and unsecured loan, do you immediately think which side? Yes. Why do you have such clarity? Even asset can be that I have given someone unsecured loan, right? Even in asset, it can be that I have given someone secured loan. But why, when I say the word secured loan and unsecured loan, you immediately think about liability side. And when I tell about loans and advances, you immediately think about asset side. Terminology. Because since 11th and 12th standard, whenever you have seen a balance sheet, it has always been that on the asset side, the word used, I'm not saying the meaning, the word used for any loans given is loans and advances. And whenever we have taken, it's always secured loan, unsecured. That is called as use of terminology, which means each terminology has a fixed use. And we have to use the words that will not give different meanings. We have to use the terminology that will only bring one meaning to the users so that they are not confused. This is what is called as using correct terminology. So if I am making a financial statement and everything is correct, everything is very good, but in asset side, I am writing unsecured loan, secured loan instead of loans and advances. Can it confuse people? So, auditor has to also evaluate that whether management has used correct terminology. Everything clear? So, the terminology used should also be appropriate. We don't just have to see that the amounts are correct. Everyone is written in the way it should be written. Good. Everyone is saying clear. Okay. Okay, very good. So now tell me, what are the points regarding specific evaluations by auditor? Now, how I remember it, okay? So I remember it this way. First, what I do, I create a small like this, that accounting policy plus accounting estimate, okay? Write down with me, accounting policy and accounting estimate. For accounting policy, proper disclose and consistent. Okay. So accounting policy should be properly disclosed. It should be consistent. Accounting estimate should be reasonable. Okay. Accounting policies disclosed properly, consistent. Accounting estimate should be reasonable. Then everything should give correct information. What is the next point? Tell me fourth point. Very simple it is. What is it given? All the information should be relevant, reliable, comparable, and understandable. So information should be RRCU. I'll write this again, okay? Nicely, I'll write it. Right now, I'm just explaining. So first point, how do I remember? I want to do evaluation. What do I evaluate? I evaluate AP plus AE. What do I do in accounting policy? I see whether it is properly disclosed, it is properly consistent. What do I do in accounting estimates? That they are reasonable. Then overall, all the information is reliable, relevant, comparable, and understanding. So now we have accounting policy, we have accounting estimate, we have all the information. So everything should be properly disclosed. What do we have to disclose? All the events and all the transactions. And we have to disclose with appropriate terminology. So how do we know this answer? Okay. How do we learn this answer? I want to evaluate as an auditor. I want to do specific evaluations by auditor. How do I learn this answer? Evaluation, some maths. So remember AP plus AE. Okay. Accounting policies plus accounting estimates. Accounting policies, what do we have to see? We have to see that they are properly disclosed and they are properly consistent. In accounting estimates, what do we have to see? That they are reasonable. Then all this should be giving good information. That information should be reliable, relevant, comparable, understandable. Then all this information and APAE should be properly disclosed. What all should they disclose? All events and all transactions. And how should they disclose it? By using appropriate terminology. Do you think you can remember? Students? हो जाएगा याद? Everyone note this down, please. Quickly. Everyone note this down. So it became easy. Yes. Everything can be easy. Very easy to catch concept, ma'am. Very good. Thank you. So as I told you, audit is not enough to just understand. We have to also write it, na? So we have to make an effort to learn it. Many times students have this complaint that, ma'am, I have understood, I have read the book, but I'm not able to write. If I get the newspaper every morning, right? I read the whole newspaper. Do you think I can write the newspaper because I have understood the news? Can I write the newspaper because I read all the whole newspaper I have read, whole newspaper I have understood? Can I write down that newspaper? No. Understanding is not equal to ability to write. For writing, we have to do some extra work. We have to make some effort to memorize. We have to make an effort to write. So understanding, very good. We have to understand. But we also have to make an effort to memorize. We also have to make an effort to write, to be able to write it in exam. So for that, we need repetition, we need revision, we need practice. Okay. And some tricks sometimes. Okay. So I'll give you tricks whenever it's possible. I'll give you tricks to learn. Okay. Now, without seeing, no one should see the book. Everyone, tell me, how do I start? Write down this answer. What is the question? And no one, be honest. Don't see the book. Okay. So we have to see evaluations by auditor. What do I do first? Quickly tell me the answer without looking in the book. Tell from your memory. AP plus AE. AP should be what? AP should be what? Good. AP plus AE, everyone got. Now AP should be what? Properly disclosure. Good. Good, Mujahid. And then second, it should be proper disclosure. Then consistent. Very good. And AE should be what? AE should be consistent is correct. AE should be reasonable. Very good, Mr. Linga. Reasonable. Now, all this should be giving correct information. Information should be what? Quickly tell me. Information should be what? Clearly tell me. Yes, you can write in short form for quickly. RRCU, very good. Reliable, relevant, comparable, understandable. This also done. Then this information should be properly, AP, AE and information should be properly disclosed. What should it disclose? It should disclose all the, what should it disclose? Transaction and events. Very good, Steffi. Transactions and events. And it should be disclosed in what appropriate? It should be appropriate what? Appropriate terminology. Very good, Mujahid. Appropriate terminology. That's it. We are done with a good 4-mark answer in the class. Easy? Done? How many of you honestly gave answer without seeing the book? Good. Many people gave without seeing the book on their own. Very good. Great. So this answer is done. We'll move on to the next topic. Okay, good. So this answer is perfectly done. Specific evaluations by the auditor. Fully covered, fully done. Now, can you see this whole thing? Overview of specific evaluations, it's repetition. So it's just in short, the same thing, okay? So it's a repetition of the top thing in a shorter and quicker revision format. Same thing, nothing new. So we are done with this topic. Next, general purpose financial framework, fair presentation framework, and compliance framework. This I'll explain to you. Pay attention. Fair presentation framework and compliance framework. Okay. Now pay attention. How many of you have heard about tax audit? How many of you have heard about tax audit? Have you studied little bit of income tax? Yes, 3CD, 3CD, 44AB audit. Have you heard about that? Okay, okay. Once you get into articleship, you will experience this quite abundantly. Okay, there will be no problem in getting exposure of tax audits. Now, what happens in tax audits? Income tax has created a form called as Form 3CD. It has a lot of clauses. Imagine these clauses like questions, and auditor has to give answers. There are 40 plus questions. Okay, 40 plus clauses are there. So there are questions and auditor just has to give answer. So suppose there is a question that whether TDS was deposited on time, whether TDS was correctly deducted at the correct rate. Like that, many questions are there. 40 plus clauses are there. As an auditor, here I don't get space to give my own additions. Okay, it's like a format. A form is given, these questions are there. I have to see whether Income Tax Act has been correctly complied. That's it. I don't have to give whether it's fair, not fair, nothing like that. Question, answer. That is called as compliance framework. Now it's clear? When an auditor has to audit as per given law, it's rigid, it's fixed. The structure is fixed. What I have to give opinion, what I have to write, what I have to communicate is also fixed. That is called as compliance framework. Now, in same thing, if I think about Companies Act, okay, statutory audit. In statutory audit, does it mean that I don't have to see any law? Or in statutory audit, we see law plus we see fairness. So here we are seeing compliance also. We are but not seeing just compliance. We are seeing that whether Schedule 3 is followed or not, whether Companies Act is properly followed, accounting standards are followed. We are seeing all those things. But we are also looking at judgment areas and we are also commenting on fairness. For example, you are auditing a company, okay, and it has 200 employees, okay, and there is tea bill, tea and coffee bill, tea and snacks bill. And for the year, the amount is 20 lakh rupees. And for all this, they have given you vouchers. Again, 200 employees are there in a company. Tea and coffee bill they are showing as 20 lakh rupees. And for the whole 20 lakh rupees, they have produced tea expense vouchers. As per simple procedure of auditing vouching, is it proven already that it is correct? As per vouchers, is it correct? Because all vouchers are available. For 20 lakhs, vouchers are available. So as per vouchers, will it be correct? Yes. But as per fairness, do you think that 200 employees should have expense of 20 lakh rupees as tea and coffee expense? Do you think 200 employees should have 20 lakhs of expense for tea and coffee? That is called as scope for fairness. We get an opportunity to evaluate beyond the law and beyond the documents. We get an opportunity to use our common sense, to use our judgment on whether something appears to be appropriate, whether something appears to be reasonable. And that is called as fair presentation framework. Is everyone clear? So that is why we use true and fair view. That everything that is written appears to be true also, but not just true, it also appears to be fair. Okay. So exactly, Anil says, auditor needs to verify whether company actually made 20 lakh expenses or they are just fake vouchers, right? So we have to use our judgment also. So now you tell me, all these company audits that we do, all these statutory audits, all this, whether they are fair presentation framework or compliance framework. All the statutory audits that we do, which kind of framework they are? Fair presentation. Good. So this is very important conceptually. You should be able to understand because MCQs can come. MCQs, MCQ based case studies, there this concept may be used. So here you can mention conceptually important. It means I will not tell you to memorize everything, but it is very important that you understand. Okay. So conceptually important, everyone has understood. Let's come here. Once again. Okay. So here, whatever I'm telling you to underline, just underline that. Fair presentation framework. So general purpose framework can be fair presentation or compliance. Okay. So general purpose can be of two types, fair presentation or compliance framework. All right. So what does it mean? You are acknowledging explicitly or implicitly that to achieve fair presentation, management may have to provide disclosures which are beyond required by framework. So management cannot say that it was not written in the law, then why should I write it? Or it was not written in accounting statements, so why should I write it? No. If you think that it is important to disclose it and it will help the users, then you should disclose it. You cannot say it was not written in the law, so I didn't write it. So to achieve fair presentation, we have to look beyond what is required by law or the framework. Okay. Or acknowledge explicitly that it is necessary for management to depart from a requirement of framework to achieve fair presentation. This is very rare. So they are saying two circumstances can happen, okay? Two things can happen. First, you have followed all the framework requirements, means you have followed all the laws, you have followed all the standards. Framework means laws, standards, policies, everything you have followed. But still you want to tell, if you want to tell something more than what is required in the framework. So if you have to say something that gives more fair view, then you should tell it. And second is, if management thinks that standard is telling me to write like this, but I want to write differently because it will help the users, that is also allowed. That is called as fair presentation framework. You don't have to memorize, but just these things you should remember, that you can either acknowledge explicitly. Explicitly means in writing, or implicitly means you just write what is important, and you can provide disclosures beyond your statute or beyond your law or beyond your framework. So when we write something that is not even required, that is called as fair presentation framework. And second, when we specifically write that I have not followed some standard or I have not followed some law because it will be better to not follow it, that is also allowed in rare circumstances, but it is allowed if you think it will give more fair presentation. Can you see how much personal judgment is allowed? Okay. So when you're doing fair presentation, the government, the authorities are assuming that you are a person of reasonable, sound mind who can use common sense. And if he thinks that something important is required to be said in the financial statements, even if it is not required by the law, I will say it because it will improve the transparency. That is called as fair presentation framework. Compliance framework means you have to do compliance as per the framework, but you don't do the 1 and 2 above. Means you cannot do anything beyond that is required in the framework. So you just have to check the compliance of the framework. That's it. Very simple. Nothing much. Can we move ahead? Yes, in case two, Anil is asking, ma'am, in case two, management may skip unnecessary things, right? That is why it is very rare. You must have to explicitly means you have to give in writing why you are skipping something. And by skipping, how are you increasing the fairness? So you have to justify it. That by skipping something, how am I increasing the fairness? How am I increasing the transparency? You have to give that explanation. That is why it is rare. You can't just like that do it. Okay. All right. Next. Come to form of opinion. Form of opinion, I will tell you in detail, just mention here. You don't have to study here separately, just write as per SA 705. Just write it here. So you don't have to study it here now. We will study it when I teach you SA 705. Vedant has written, ma'am, that means compliance. The compliance framework means required by law, and fair presentation means you need to go beyond the law for better presentation. Absolutely correct, Vedant. Absolutely correct. Okay. Can I move ahead? In form of opinion, you just write as per SA 705. When we do it in the chapter, that time it will be enough. You don't have to study here. Okay. Next. Now come to auditor's report. Auditor's report shall be in writing. Very obvious thing, but even an obvious thing should be written. Because someone will say orally, where is it written? I have to give in writing in SA 700. If someone tells you, where is it written that I have to give my report in writing, I will speak it. No, it is written in SA 700 that you have to give in writing. Okay. So even obvious things which we think as obvious should be written. Okay. So let's see audit report format. Now I'll go through in brief. And then once I have finished essay number 705, 706, and 701, then we will do this in more detail. Right now, I'll give you a thorough introduction of the format. Then, because here, see, all these points are given, na? Opinion, key audit matters, but you don't know these points right now. You have not studied it yet, right? So right now, I'll just tell you what the format is, and then I'll teach you these points. I'll teach you audit opinion. I'll teach you key audit matters. Then we will come back and study the format in detail. Okay. So let's start. First thing in a format is a good title. Title means independent auditor's report. Whatever report it is. If it's a concurrent audit report, concurrent audit report. If it is an internal audit report, internal audit report. If it's a tax audit report, tax audit report. So your report should have a title. Next is addressee. I already discussed this point. So it should be members of a company or partners. If it's a trust, then it should be trustees. So whoever you are making the report for, they are your members or addressee. Then the first thing you have to write is your opinion. Does auditor give a guarantee or auditor give an opinion? Auditor gives an opinion. Okay. So here you have to write down what opinion you are giving. Whether you're satisfied with the company, whether you're not satisfied with the company's financial statements. This we will study in detail in essay 705. Okay. Auditor's opinion we will study in detail. Okay. Then you have to write basis for opinion. What does it mean? It means reason of opinion. So if I have given opinion all good, all okay, then you have to write the reason. If I have said some problems are then what are the problems? So basis for opinion is always after auditor's opinion. Okay. So you have to write why you have given this opinion. Okay. Then going concern, you have to mention that whether company is going concern or not. Okay. Then key audit matters. This I'll tell you in essay 701. Other information, responsibility of financial statements. This is management responsibility. This is auditor responsibility, location of auditor responsibility, other reporting responsibility, signature, place, date. This is just a basic thing. So before I move forward, I'll teach you this because title I have told you what it means. Addressee, I have told you what it means. Now let's come to audit opinion. Okay, let's study audit opinion so that we can understand this properly. Everyone. Now, audit opinion. Everyone please pay attention. Audit opinion is mostly divided into two parts. Okay. One is unmodified opinion. And here it is modified opinion. Unmodified means all okay. Okay. Everything is okay. Everything is good. Financial statements are true and fair view. So here we write true and fair view. Sometimes they also use the word clean opinion. Sometimes here and there, they might use it. We will, for professional purposes, will use the word unmodified, but sometimes here and there in examples or case studies, you might see the word clean opinion. So when everything is okay, it's called as unmodified opinion or clean opinion. But what we are going to focus on is what if everything is not okay? Okay, what to do when everything is not okay, when not all is well, okay? All is not well. So we have three options. These are our strengths. So if I am not happy with your financial statements, and if my audit procedures, my audit evidence is pointing towards some problems, what power I have? This is my power. This modified opinion is auditor's biggest power. Okay. So first modified opinion, let's think. Qualified. Qualified opinion. Qualified opinion means what? Imagine it like this, that I have gone to audit and I am saying everything is okay except, okay? This is just for your understanding. True and fair view except means except 20 lakh rupees of data, everything is okay. Except 50 lakh rupees of plant and machinery, everything is okay. So as an auditor, you think there are problems, but you don't want to tell that the whole financial statement is bad. You want to say you are overall okay, but here some things are problematic. So when some things are problematic, but everything else seems to be okay, we give qualified opinion. So when do we give qualified opinion? Two situations. When auditor has obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence that misstatements exist. Okay, misstatements exist either individually or aggregate, and these misstatements are material but not pervasive. Write down like this. Qualified opinion, when do we give? When we have obtained some evidence, we have found that there is a misstatement. But this misstatement is not so small that I can ignore it. But it is not that big also that I'll say that the whole financial statements are wrong. They are important. So they are material, but they are not pervasive. Pervasive means they're not affecting many things, or they're not affecting the substantial portion of a financial statement. What is material, what is pervasive is auditor's judgment. This is auditor's judgment. Okay. First thing, when do we give qualified opinion? Some evidence we have found. What evidence we have found? Some misstatement is there. That misstatement is not that big, which means it's not very pervasive, but it's not immaterial also. So what is between pervasive and immaterial? Material. So the misstatement I have found is material, but it is not pervasive. Then which opinion we will give? We will give qualified opinion. Second situation we have when we can give qualified opinion. Unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So I have not been able to find sufficient appropriate audit evidence, but I believe that misstatement can exist and its effects may be material but not pervasive. I'll give you an example, don't worry. So suppose I'm auditing a company. I see their balance sheet. Their balance sheet has a small land of 10 lakh rupees. I'm asking them to give me the documents, but they are unable to bring the documents. They are saying it's some inheritance. It's in our company since 100 years. We don't have documents. So they are not able to prove that they are right I am unable to prove that they are wrong. That is called as unable to obtain. Okay. They are unable to prove that they are right. I am unable to prove they are wrong. But I believe that in this situation, something can happen. And if it is happening, it is material. So if this land is actually not of companies, but of someone else, then this 10 lakh asset is wrong and it can affect the balance sheet. So I feel this 10 lakh, although the company is 100 crore company, but I feel this 10 lakh is material, but it is not pervasive. So do we give qualified opinion only when we have obtained evidence, or we can give it even when we have not obtained evidence? Can we give it even when we have not obtained evidence? Yes, yes. Only when we obtain evidence? No. We can give in both situations. So when can we give qualified? When I have obtained evidence that something is wrong. So I am giving you that land example. Suppose I find the deed. I find their deed, okay? And it does not have company name. So I have found evidence that there is a misstatement. But because of this 10 lakh rupee land deed, can I say that the financial statements of 200 crores turnover company is fully wrong and the company is completely bad? But can I ignore it? Both are not right. I cannot say just because of this small land piece that the whole company financial statements are wrong, right? I cannot say that. But I also can't ignore this. So that is why in this middle situation, we have qualified. We have an option to give qualified opinion. So I have found the misstatement. What misstatement I have found? That the deed is not in company's name. So this 10 lakh rupees is not correctly shown in the balance sheet. But what if the situation is different? What if the situation is that there is a land in balance sheet, but they are not able to show their title deeds to me? So that is a situation of what? Unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So I want to confirm, I want the company to confirm that the land is theirs. They are unable to give me any concrete answer. And I am also unable to prove that it is not of companies, because I checked 10 years before balance sheet also, this land is showing in their balance sheet. So I am also not able to prove that you are wrong. You are not able to prove you are right. So this is a situation that I am unable to obtain audit evidence. And that is why I think that I was not able to confirm land of 10 lakh rupees. Should I get an option to write in the audit report that this land of 10 lakh rupees, we did not find any appropriate and sufficient evidence for the existence of the land? Do you remember assertions? For any asset, we need to confirm what? Existence of the asset, ownership of the asset, right? Were we able to confirm the ownership of the asset without the deed? No. So we were not able to find evidence. But in that situation also, can we use qualified opinion even if I'm not able to find evidence? But I feel that if because of this, there can be misstatements. Yes. So that is called as qualified opinion. Everyone clear? Make this flowchart, please, in your books. This flowchart of qualified opinion. This you can do. Everyone is done already with the flowchart? Already done. Just write down done if you have already made it. Done, done. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Done, ma'am. Okay. All right. Done. Very good. Done. Okay. Harsh. Done. Okay. So everyone is clear with qualified opinion. Now let's go to the second type of opinion. Adverse opinion. Not showing true and fair view. So when do we write adverse opinion? When you have obtained sufficient and appropriate audit evidence that misstatements exist and they are material and pervasive. When can we write adverse opinion? When you have obtained evidence that misstatement, you have proof that misstatement is there. I can prove it. And that misstatement is big. That misstatement is affecting everything. That misstatement is very material. Plus, it is affecting a lot of items of financial statements. It's affecting the whole uh, uh, view of the balance sheet and P&L. That is when we write adverse opinion. So adverse opinion can we give when we don't have, can we write, sorry, Kuldeep has asked some question. Ma'am, example of land could be mentioned. In exam, you will not have to mention any example. In exam, if it is asked, I'll show you the theory, what you have to write. When institute wants to ask you question, they will give you an example. Okay. We will do those case studies. Don't worry. There are many case studies in the book. So in book, there are many examples given. Okay. So can I give adverse opinion if I have not found evidence? Can I give adverse opinion when I have not found audit evidence? No. Adverse opinion can only and only be given when you have found evidence for the misstatement. So you should have sufficient appropriate audit evidence that something is wrong. For example, debtors and stock are 80% asset of the company. What? Debtors and stock are the 80% asset of the company. And you found that the valuation of stock and debtors itself is incorrect. So it can be called as pervasive impact because 80% asset valuation becomes wrong. But if debtors and stock was only 10% of the total company's asset, then we can say, okay, it is material but not pervasive. So what is pervasive? Who has to take that decision that what is pervasive and what is not pervasive? Who has to take the decision that whether something is pervasive or whether something is not pervasive? Auditor. Usually in all your study material and questions, the question will clearly mention whether it is material and pervasive or material and not pervasive. Because we need to have a lot of details to take the decision that whether something is pervasive or not. So in case studies, you are not told to take decision whether it is pervasive or not. In question, it will be clearly given whether something is material and pervasive or material and not pervasive. Okay. So you have to take that decision that something is very small, something is very minor, something is not very affecting everything and whole of financial statements, then maybe it is immaterial, or if it is material and not pervasive. Okay. That is very, very as per situation. All right. So in case studies, you get an exam that they will mention in the question whether it is pervasive or not pervasive. Is that clear to everyone? So we don't have to take the decision that whether it's pervasive or not. To form, Kuldeep has asked, to form an adverse audit opinion, there must exist materiality and pervasiveness. Correct. Misstatement, there must exist misstatement that is material and pervasive. Is that clear, Kuldeep? Being an auditor, Anil has asked, being an auditor, can we pull into pervasive category in case it is very minor but absolutely material? Will the law punish auditor? I think when you try to be over strict, the management may ask you for a meeting and may not agree with you. See, we are not CID, police officers, investigators. We are auditors. We have to work along with management. We have to ask them for details. So we have to discuss with them. Even in essay, when I teach you more tomorrow, you will see that many times it is written discuss with the management. If you are going to give adverse opinion, discuss with the management. Discuss what words you are going to write. If you are going to make any special comment, any special paragraphs, discuss the wording with the management. So it's a process that unnecessary things we should not misuse our power. So if you feel that something is just material but not pervasive, then why do you want to punish them by giving them adverse opinion, right? So that much it is expected that we will maintain professionalism and we will not have any bias when we are making audit reports. So everyone is clear, adverse opinion when to be given? So it should be given when material misstatement exists and it is material and pervasive. And second opinion is clear, right? Can I move on to third one? Ma'am, how can we discuss with management that we are opting? I am telling you to discuss. I am not telling you to take their permission. Discussion means I think that there is no evidence. But what if when I discuss with them, they're able to give me some evidence? They're able to give me some explanation. So we have to always, before finalizing our report and before finalizing any evidence, we have to discuss with the management, discuss with TCWG, and see if they have any explanation, any evidence to give to us. And if they are not able to, then we can give whatever report is correct. Okay. Question is clear? All right. Can I move on to the third opinion? Last opinion. Okay. Any more questions? I'll just see. Okay. Now, third opinion. So first is qualified. Second is adverse. Now we'll go to the third opinion. Disclaimer of opinion. Let's imagine, let me give you a situation, okay? Let's imagine that a company was having manual accounting system. And last year, the company suddenly transitioned into SAP system. SAP means fully automated IT-based system they have transformed into, okay? So they hurriedly did that. What will happen when you hurriedly change from a fully manual system to a fully IT-based system? What can happen? What problems you can predict can happen? Tell me, what problems can you predict? Balance transfer would be wrong, or there can be errors. Company may fail to properly train their employees. Lot of errors, lot of omissions. All past data may not get correctly loaded. Lot of incorrectness. They may not give training to their employees. Employees may make many mistakes. So high chances of errors high chances of loss of information, right or wrong? So suppose you are made auditor of a company that in current year has transitioned from manual system to fully automated IT system. And whenever you're trying to ask them some questions, they are not able to find information from the manual system data. In the middle of the year, they transition. Now they are not able to prove they are right. I am unable to prove whether they are right or wrong. I am not able to find any evidence. So, disclaimer of opinion, when is it given? It's given when you are unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit possibility of effects of misstatements is material and pervasive. I am unable to find all the vouchers. I am unable to find all the cash book. I am unable to find stock register. So nothing I am able to find properly. So is it affecting everything? Is it affecting whole of financial statements? Yes. So if I am unable to obtain evidence because of which there is material and pervasive impact, then which opinion we will give? Disclaimer, very, very, very rare. Very rare to give this opinion. Very rare to give this opinion. In extreme circumstances, for example, there was flood. There was violent flood in a town and everyone's stores got fully flooded. Everyone's data got lost, or there was an earthquake and people lost everything. That year, if I go to audit, I might not find anything and it will be wrong for me to give them adverse report or qualified report because there's no data only. So when we don't have enough information to give any opinion, we give disclaimer of opinion. No, disclaimer is not a worst form of opinion. They suffered a major earthquake, they suffered a major fire, or they suffered something called as floods, because of which all their records got destroyed. There could be any reason. So disclaimer is not the worst form. Adverse is still the worst form of opinion. The something that companies will really fear because it can affect their credibility, it can affect them getting loans, it can affect their share value, it can affect them getting orders from, it can affect their credibility, it can affect their goodwill. So adverse opinion is the worst. Ma'am, auditor cannot investigate, Anil has asked. He just reports some fraud has happened and rest of the things CG will take care? No. So auditor is not obliged to find, and it is not possible for auditor to find each and every fraud and error. But if you find some fraud, then you have to go in depth. Then you can't excuse that I am just an auditor. No. If you are not obligated to find all the frauds, but if you find something, then you are obligated to go in detail as per SS 240. Okay. Is your doubt clear, Anil? Ma'am, I didn't get you. Could you please elaborate? Yes. So I am telling you, Anil, that your question is, ma'am, auditor cannot investigate. He just report that some fraud has happened and rest of the things. CG means you mean central government? First clarify, CG means central government, right? Ah. Now listen. So his question is, can we do investigation in case we find fraud? Please remember, we are auditors, okay? Yes, we are not investigators. But if during audit I find a fraud, then I have to ask all the questions related to it, but I still don't have investigating powers. What does it mean by investigating powers? Can I go to my client's home, personal home, and make him take an oath and give answers to me? Can I lock him in the room and make him give answers? Can I open his cupboards and take out his cash wherever he's hiding it? So even if I find fraud, can I investigate? Is investigate the right word? I can't investigate. But does it mean that just because I can't investigate, I have found a fraud, so I'll leave it? No, I can still do my job and everything I can do in the powers of the auditor to find more details and to report it, report that fraud. Then after that, what the government wants to do with the fraud, that is there, what actions they will take, that all that they can discuss. I cannot punish the company. I can just report the company. So if I have found the fraud, I can report it. But what will happen to the company? How much penalty they would go through? What jail term they will go through? Whether that license will be cancelled or not? That is not for me to decide. So that extra steps after fraud is discovered, that is done by the government. Okay. You just use the word audit. Inquiry is part of audit. Is that clear, Anil? Inquiry is part of audit. Audit is not equal to inquiry. Inquiry is a part of audit. So you remember Venn diagrams from school? If this is audit, so if this is audit, inquiry is a small part of it. And investigation is a separate Venn diagram. And there is no common area in between them. Is that clear? So inquiry is just a part of audit. Investigation is completely separate. There's no conjunction. There is no common. All right. So let's quickly revise it. You tell me. My question is, I am unable to obtain audit evidence, but it is material only. Material, but not pervasive. So which opinion will I give? I am unable to obtain audit evidence regarding misstatement, but it is material but not pervasive. So which opinion will I give? Qualified. 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 Very good. Here I'll give qualified. One more question. If I am able to obtain evidence and I have found material, I have found misstatement which is material plus pervasive. So which opinion will I give? I'm able to obtain audit evidence. Misstatement is material and pervasive. Then which opinion will I give? Adverse. Excellent. Excellent. Everyone is giving correct answers. Very good. So adverse opinion. Okay. One second. Yeah. Next, what if I am unable to obtain audit evidence and it is material plus pervasive? Then which opinion? Unable to obtain evidence and the effects are material and pervasive. Disclaimer. Very good. Very good, everyone. Good. All right. And last, I'm able to find audit evidence, but it is material but not pervasive. So which opinion? Able to find audit evidence, but it is material but not pervasive. Qualified. Very good. Modified is total name for all three. You have to give me specified. Qualified. Everyone is clear now? Okay, understood. Any doubt in three types of opinion? Very important for the whole audit syllabus. And very important topic for case studies, for MCQs, any kind of twist like this questions can come in three types of opinion. Okay. So properly we need to do, and concept should be fully there in your brain. No here and there. All right. So opinion, first we studied qualified opinion. Then we studied, have you all noted this down? Have you noted this down, everyone? Everyone has done? Yes, ma'am, noted. Ma'am, last one, once explain, I'll explain, okay? 1 second. Noted, 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 okay. So one question is there, last one, ma'am, explain, please. Three differences, okay? Understand this. If you are not able to obtain evidence, and that evidence is material but not pervasive, which opinion? Qualified. Anything that is material but not pervasive will automatically be what? Qualified. Able to obtain evidence, material but not pervasive. Again, whenever it is material but not pervasive, qualified. Then you are able to audit evidence. You have found proof that lot of misstatement is there and it is material and pervasive. Which opinion? Adverse. You are unable to obtain audit evidence. It is material and pervasive. Then what will it be? Disclaimer of opinion. Everyone clear? Any doubt now? Mujahid, is it clear to you? Okay. If someone asks you in deep sleep also, you should be able to answer this now. Even if someone wakes you up from the sleep, hey, what is the unable to obtain evidence, material and pervasive? Oh, disclaimer, disclaimer. Like that it should be. Even if someone asks in sleep, you should know this answer. Okay. Very easy, but very, very important. Okay. We are about to reach the end of our time today. I forgot to give you 10 minutes break in between. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's just quickly see auditor's opinion. Then we'll do the MCQs. Okay. So first come here, basic elements. First thing I want to tell you that you don't have to memorize the list like a list. It will not come as a full 1-page answer, not like that, because it's very long. It will be like 10-15 marks. But individually, something here and there you have to memorize, which I'll tell you what you have to learn, okay? So title should be there clearly, very easy point. Title should be there, okay? 1 second. Okay. Title should be there clearly. Then like independent exam, auditor example is given. Addressee should be there. Then addressee should be as per the circumstances, as per law regulation, okay? So if it is a private limited, if it is a public company, it should write members. If it is a partnership firm, what should it write? Partners of Richa International. This we have already discussed. All of you know now. Then auditor's opinion come everyone. Mark this as important, please. In this also, this can be a theory answer, okay? That is why I'm making you mark it as important. So this can come as a theory answer. Don't see this first, come here. Come to this part, page number 8.12. See this. This is how your audit report start. Any statutory audit report, okay? What does it say? It says we have audited, which means it's confirming, it's identifying that I have audited, okay? So it's confirming that I have audited. It's confirming what I have audited. I have audited financial statements. It's confirming whose financial statements I have audited. I have audited of Ringston. It's identifying period for which I have done the audit. It is for 2022. It is mentioning what all I have covered. Balance sheet, statement of P&L, notes, summary of accounting policies, and significant information. What does it mean? It means that when I'm writing the opinion paragraph, okay, I start like this, that I have audited financial statements of whom? Of this company. What does it include? It includes balance sheet as on 31st 3 2022. It includes P&L. It includes notes. It includes everything else. Then, according to best of our knowledge and explanation, we will give a view whether it gives true and fair view as per the accounting principles accepted in India for the state of affairs of the company and P&L of the company. This is your opinion paragraph. This is fixed. Only time it will change is as per the opinion. If your opinion changes, the words here and there will change. We will see each, when we study each opinion, I'll show you how it is changing. So what does opinion paragraph include? Now come back. Now this answer becomes very easy. Once you have seen that paragraph, it becomes easy. First, what does opinion paragraph include? First, you have to identify the entity whose financial statements have been audited. You have to identify, which means what was the name of that company? Ringston. So I have to write down that it is Ringston. State that financial statements have been audited. So what do we write? We have audited. Then identify title of each statement. How do I identify? I write down balance sheet. I have checked balance sheet. I have checked P&L. I have to check notes. This list depends on the AFRF. So if AFRF includes statement of changes in equity, then it should be mentioned. If it includes revenue statement, then revenue account should be mentioned. Then you have to refer to the notes, including summary of significant accounting policies. You always have to mention accounting policies in opinion. And specify the date or period. So what was this? 31/3/2022. Very easy it became. We have audited the financial statements of Ringston International, which comprises of balance sheet as on 31/3/2022, P&L, notes to accounts, and including summary of significant accounting policies. That's it. If you remember that paragraph, this answer will become very easy. So what is included in audit opinion paragraph? Identify the entity whose financial statements have been audited, state that financial statements have been audited, identify title of each statement, refer to the notes, and specify date or period. Everything done? We'll stop here today, okay? We'll do 5 MCQs and that's it. Everyone clear what I explained now? What is included in audit opinion? Clear. All right. We'll do the MCQ now. Very simple only, nothing major. Yes, ma'am, clear. Let's start with MCQ, okay? First question. Which opinion is issued When misstatements are material but not pervasive. Misstatements are material but not pervasive. Always material but not pervasive means qualified. B, ma'am. Correct. Everyone is correct. Not even one wrong answer. Very good. Good. At least 15-20 people replied. Very good. Okay. Next. Which opinion is issued when misstatements are both material and pervasive? Okay. Misstatements are, which means evidence has already been found or not found. Misstatements are material and pervasive. Evidence found. So which opinion will it be? Very good. Adverse opinion. Everyone correct. Next, auditor is unable to obtain sufficient evidence and effects could be material but not pervasive. Material but not pervasive. Unable to obtain audit evidence. Effects can be material but not pervasive. What will be the answer for fifth? Correct. Qualified. Material but not pervasive, not disclaimer. Disclaimer will be material and pervasive. What is written here? What did I tell you? Whenever evidence is material but not pervasive, it will be qualified. Correct? So here it is qualified. Then a disclaimer of opinion is issued when auditor cannot obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence and effects could be both material and pervasive. Misstatements are material but not pervasive. Auditor disagrees but evidence is available or when management requests for it. What is the correct answer? Six A. Correct, everyone. All right. Okay. Last for today. Which section comes immediately after opinion paragraph? After opinion paragraph, what comes immediately? I told you when I was telling you just the basic. After opinion, there will be after opinion, there will be 8. 8 one I'm showing you. After opinion paragraph, there will be which paragraph? Correct. After opinion paragraph, basis for opinion paragraph. I have given opinion, then I have to give why I have given the opinion. Okay. Here I showed you like this. See, opinion paragraph and then basis for opinion paragraph. Now you remember? Okay. Okay. Technical team, you can see if anyone wants to ask any question or anyone has raised hands. We can do that. Otherwise, we. Okay. 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 Anyone else? Ma'am, could you revisit question number 5? Okay, one second. Auditor is unable to provide sufficient appropriate audit or unable to provide evidence and effects could be material but not pervasive. Means I am unable to obtain evidence, which is this part. Okay. I am unable to obtain evidence, but it is material but not pervasive. So which opinion it will be? Qualified. Right? Bit 2, is it clear? Okay. Anyone else, any other doubt? I hope you enjoyed the class today and everything was perfectly clear to you. Okay. I think no one has very interesting, easy to grasp question. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mr. Linga. All cleared, enjoyed. Thank you. Clear, ma'am. Thank you. Nice session, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, I think technical team, there's no more question messages coming. Your explanation. Thank you so much, Tanu. Okay, okay. Manish, we can end the session now, students. See you in next lecture. Wait 1 second. Anil has some question. Ma'am, how will the auditor manage time? You have to. Else, if you don't feel you have enough time, you should not accept the engagement. You must have studied in essay number 210 also, agreeing to the terms of engagement, that we should not accept any engagement if we don't have time. Class was very nice and engaging. Thank you so much, Bittu. Thank you. Okay. All right. I don't see any other questions now. We can end the class now, Manish. Okay. Should I end or will you do it? I will end the session. Right. Okay. Bye, students. Take care. Good.
Hello, yes, you can end the session, Manish.